You're listening to Lore Friendly with Chris Takahashi and Alice Bell. Say hello,
Good
Alice.
day.
Good day. You don't say hello in UK, in England. In
No,
merry old
I'm
England.
re-embracing my heritage. And, well, I'm accepting the fact that we don't use your Americanisms such as hello,
What's up?
what's up?
Is it merry old England? Is it ever like, unhappy new Britain or something? I don't know.
Well,
Are you always merry?
yes, because you see we have Soma in England, like in We Happy Few, which, first topic of the day, that flopped. Oh, yeah.
I indie games are not my not within my purview or not part of my expertise. I don't even know what this game
Right,
is.
so
What is
We
this
Happy
game?
Few was a Kickstarter funded game, and it looked really promising because it was a cross between like survival and narrative. And so basically you have to try and survive in this society where you all take Soma and it's illegal for you not to take Soma because the Soma basically it's like in Brave New World. Basically, that's where they got the name for the drug from.
I like
yeah.
the art style.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
It's very what's the word here? Unique? No, that's
Yeah.
not. Unique is ironically not a very unique term. It's stylized.
Yeah.
How about that? It's
Yeah,
very stylized.
good word.
Reminds me a bit of like that whole Dishonored BioShock kind of vibe
Yeah.
where it's like art deco, retro.
Yeah, I think that's what they were
thing.
going for with the setting and things, but it's heavily based on Aldous Huxley's Brave New World.
So why did it fail?
Because, well, basically, they released it on early access first, and it looked promising. And last week, the full release came out, and it was a buggy mess. It was compared to Arkham. Oh, what's the
Asylum?
No, Arkham Asylum did really well. What's the Arkham game that they had? The last Arkham game,
I have no idea. There's like 1,000 Arkham games.
something like
Arkham Bugfest.
Arkham World, something like that. I don't know. Was it Arkham World?
We'll figure.
Universe?
Well, yeah, it doesn't
Arkham
matter.
Dicks?
The point is, the point is that a lot of times these games they look great, they're stylized. It's just it looks like something that would just be visually and aesthetically stunning, but then the gameplay is just like that. The gameplay is the hard part. I mean,
Yeah, but yeah. So it basically got a lot of coverage for being a massive fail on a similar level to No Man's Sky.
yeah. But No Man's Sky has made efforts to correct all their
Yes.
like mistakes, right?
No
So
Man's
maybe
Sky
there's
released
hope.
a year early, and I think that's what's happened with We Happy Few. But the thing is with We Happy Few is that they got picked up by Gearbox Studios, and Gearbox Studios are the same ones who released the notorious, whatchamacallit, Alien Colonial Marines that never got fixed. So they have a history of taking promising looking games and screwing them up and fucking them within an inch of their life.
Well, see, that's the difference here because Gearbox has no stake in this game's being success. With No Man's Sky, we're talking about that was their signature game. That's their studio, right?
Yeah.
So their livelihood is at stake, and ROI isn't as important, return on investment. Where here, if you're owned by a bigger studio, sometimes it's just easier for them to like cut off like the limb and just say it's a sunk cost and shit.
Yeah.
It's just
I feel like what's going to happen to it is going to be very similar to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, where because it released as a buggy mess, it basically the parent company the publisher decides to cut its losses, and the company can invest as much money as they want into making patches and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's the studio's probably going to shut down, and hopefully it can get as dedicated a fan base as to make it a working game, but at the minute it's looking pretty hopeless.
is the game fun if it wasn't for the bugs and stuff?
It looks like it would be. It looks like the kind of game that I would really enjoy playing. Like, it seems quite open-ended and fun, but there's...
and an interesting setting.
And the setting looks fantastic, and the narrative looks really fun as well, because Brave New World is such a good book that it's based off of, and I've always wanted to try and see what it'd be like to interact in that kind of society. But the fact that it's a buggy mess...
Would you? I don't think you'd want
Yeah,
to.
I would.
Are we talking about a dystopian society of some sort?
Yeah, I've always wanted to experience them like a time traveller. It's like, as soon as I've like experienced it for 2 seconds, it's like, right, off we go. Safe and sound.
Okay, yeah, in bits maybe, but obviously, you wouldn't want to really like fuck with those arrows. It's just not fun.
Like, it seems like a nicer dystopian society to visit than 1984. Aldous Huxley and George Orwell famously had a big debate about the best way to control people, and Aldous Huxley was basically like, yeah, no, just keeping on stamping people down, that ain't gonna do shit. You need to keep people happy. And so that's like the whole premise of the game, is to keep people happy.
We happy few.
Yes, exactly.
Well, see, controlling people through fear and like violence is never really something that would succeed, because then people would revolt. So you got to kind of control them by keeping them occupied, like the way modern governments do that.
Yeah.
With, TV shows and just drugs and shit.
Well, like with the Hunger Games and stuff like that. They're modern dystopias.
Yes,
they're not the
exactly
best
like
examples of modern dystopias, but it's one that shows the oppressed underclasses rising up against the bourgeois overclass and things. Or is it bourgeois? Bourgeois or bourgeois?
I would say bourgeois, but bourgeois sounds right too. I'm not French. I'm not French, so I have no idea. Moving on. One of the news bits that I came across several news bits. Which one do you want to hear first? The funny one or the ones we talked about?
Funny one.
Okay, so I was scrolling for like Bethesda news and stuff to talk about. So apparently in Akihabara, which is a city that is like technologically sort of just, I wouldn't say advanced. It's a tech city, right?
Yeah.
They sell a lot of tech stuff. There's like vendors on the street. It's almost like a cyberpunk kind of deal. And on a side note, I don't know how these vendors stay in business, because like their stock is just basically radio parts or transistor parts from like 40 years ago. And they're just there for the atmosphere. I have no idea like who buys their shit. But I think somebody, like the government, pays them to be there, so it adds to the Akihabara cyberpunk feel. But anyways, there's this place in Japan called Akihabara. You go there, there's technology, there's old shit, and that's the deal. They also have like maid cafes.
Oh, yeah, I know what those are, yeah.
And things like that for like nerds, love, and anime stuff. But one thing I found out just going through the news list, they also now have a VR foot massage cafe.
Oh my god, no.
So you go in, you get hooked up to a VR set, and you get a foot massage from someone. But on your VR picture is an anime girl.
Oh no. Oh, that's like all of my worst fears rolled into one. I hate feet.
Do you hate anime women? Like cutesy little anime girls?
No, but I hate the idea of anything remotely scary touching my feet.
So you're just against the foot massage idea. Forget the VR part of it.
Yeah, I'm just against feet in general.
Okay, what kind of massage do you like?
Back massages.
Okay, so butt massage. Imagine
No,
a
back.
VR. Oh, okay.
Honestly, Chris.
I don't know. I heard butt. But back massages. Okay, let's say this is a back massage place, and on your VR, well, see, that wouldn't work because you can't really see them. But,
No, because it's on my back.
right, but if you turn your head, maybe you can catch like a side view of an anime person doing your back massage for you and making like cutesy noises and shit. So
No.
would that appeal to you?
No. If I'm getting a massage, because I have had massages before, I go for facials because I'm a classy girl. And basically,
Of course.
if I want a massage, I basically want to keep the person massaging me anonymous.
True.
I don't care. I care about what they're doing to my back. I don't care about who they are.
But what if there was a VR option where you could basically get massaged by a Skyrim mannequin?
Get out.
How neutral would that be? That would be the most neutral.
That would be
face.
terrifying.
Okay, maybe that would be terrifying.
Try and suggest something that won't terrify me.
But I do think that this has some potential in terms of not an anime girl or whatever, but whatever you're into, like whatever your kink is, a furry anime cute girl. But you can actually get your foot massaged or your back massaged by a professional. Like, let's say he's like, you're into like cute little anime girls, and the best massage person is like a 7 foot, 300 pound muscle dude who could really get in there and like use his muscles to massage it, right?
I reckon you can tell the difference though. Like, there's going to be a very clear disconnect between what you're feeling and what's actually happening on your back.
Yeah, there's this tiny person, this little fairy, and and it's like grinding into you with these like big muscles. Yeah, there might be a disconnect there.
Oh god, it sounds terrifying.
Well,
That's the most traumatic thing that I think you've ever mentioned to me.
Well, basically what you're saying is to just get over it and stop being so superficial and just get massaged by the person who is massaging you.
Yeah.
The anonymous person.
Yeah.
Stop sexualizing it.
Don't
is what you're saying.
and don't mention feet massages. I
Well,
hate
that's the
them.
thing.
I hate feet. There's something wrong with them. They're deformed hands.
You must hate Quentin Tarantino films because
Oh
there's a lot of
god,
feet
yeah.
in those.
So me and my boyfriend, we finally watched some Quentin Tarantino films, The Dusk Till Dawn. We thought that that'd be a really fun one to start off with because it's vampires, and I was really enjoying it until it got to the scene in the Mexican strip club where it has this really hot vampire lady and they pour drinks through her feet. It made me feel sick.
The sexualization of feet and the sexualization of massages is out of hand.
Yeah. Like, I like a good massage every now and again, but feet, no. There is nothing sexy about feet. Maybe it's
But
because I
neither-
don't like my own feet, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm traumatized.
But neither has to be sexy. Well, especially feet, because feet are more like there to just walk on and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
you just use them to get to places. And
The
massages
only,
are more.
The only way that my feet look sexy is if they're covered in heels.
Yeah.
And that's
And
because you can't see the feet. They're contorted
toes.
into a position in which my feet should not be.
And toes are kind of weird looking in general. But yeah.
Yeah, I've got monkey toes.
Well, we're all pretty much primates.
Well, yeah,
We
but
all
like
have
I've got
monkey
really
toes.
long toes.
Interesting. So, in your VR world, you'll look down and you'll see your toes are very, very normal sized. So there you go.
Maybe that could be used to combat my phobia of feet.
They'll be like duck feet or something. Something you like.
No. That's even worse. Do not
They'll just be like
sexualize my
kittens
ducks.
or something. I'm not trying to sexualize anything. That's all them. That's all the people who are getting the massages. Massages aren't inherently not sexy. They're just relaxation techniques.
They're really good for post-workout recovery as well.
Yeah. If I have a massage thingy, like a machine, and I'm massaging my back, it's not supposed to be a sexual practice. Although back in the day, that's what women use as vibrators, I believe. Like they would advertise them as massage therapy because they couldn't say that this is a vibrator, right? And then, anyways.
Do you
we're
know that
sexualizing
doctors
it again.
used to prescribe dildos? They still
We're
do,
sexualizing
actually.
things again. We're talking about dicks again. We're trying not to sexualize things.
No, seriously, doctors used to prescribe dildos.
Well, I mean, sex should be like a healthy part of
Yeah.
any organism's life, not just humans, but just a healthy lifestyle involves just releasing your sexual energy. You're not gonna just fucking pent that shit up. That's
This
just
is
not
turning
good.
very hippie.
Yeah,
Your sexual energy.
yeah. Well, I haven't talked about astrology or anything crazy like that, so we do believe in hard science on this show.
Mercury is in retrograde. That means that you must indulge in your foot fetish.
Yeah, we don't believe in hippie shit here. Nothing but hard, factual science. Anyways, that was my weird story of the day. The other thing we learned from Kotaku, I don't know if you want to talk about this in detail because
Yeah.
I didn't really do any research, but Elder Scrolls Legends is a thing.
Yeah, they've
I've never
announced
heard of
it
it.
for years, haven't they?
Yeah, it's a card game, and apparently there was a big hullabaloo
Hullabaloo.
over Sony not allowing crossplay because they want Bethesda wants the card game to be played cross-platform.
Yeah.
So Xbox players can play PC players and stuff like that, and Sony just does not do that. They just do not want people outside of their
System.
dystopian world.
Yeah.
So to speak. They're like We Happy Few, more or less. Knowing nothing about the game, I'm just going to make that analogy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, have you played Elder Scrolls Legend? Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it. And there has been like a massive trend for like video game card games.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe this is the product of my upbringing, but I never actually played trading card games.
Like Magic the Gathering?
Yeah, like Magic the Gathering. Pokemon I didn't even play. Things like that. I just never got into it. Like, it was never a thing when I was growing up.
You were one of those people standing on the side saying, like, nerd.
No, we didn't. We literally just didn't have it. Maybe this is more like the era that we've grown up in. Like, there were people who played with Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I never quite got the rules, so I never bothered playing.
It's kind of like D&D and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting if you got into it, but you just never did.
Yeah.
It just never came into your path.
Well, it's like, that's why I want to get into D&D now, because I was never able to get into it when I was younger. But, like, card games, with things like D&D, I think that there's a set of rules and there's a room for role-playing, and that's what I look for in my games and my entertainment. Whereas with a card game, it's just endless battles, which isn't something that I can get behind as much.
I think you've offended, like, half our user base, but it's okay.
Sorry, guys.
All 6 of them. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't that big of a stink or anything. Sony and Bethesda aren't going to go to war over this, but it is kind of...
Or are they?
It is one of those sticking points that may kind of creep into other titles, because it's not just about this game. It's about, Fallout 76, about other games where there is going to be...
Any future releases from Bethesda.
Well, any future releases that involve online multiplayer, cross-platform play.
They're wanting to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, Fallout 76, we learned a little bit more about it at QuakeCon, which apparently is a thing. Have you ever played Quake?
No, but I know that QuakeCon is a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know that one game, a really old game, can have a con around it.
Yeah, it was like I thought it was like a really influential like game for its genre, but I can't remember what genre it was.
Yeah, Doom, Quake, all those like first-person shooter games, aren't they all like influenced or coming from the same tree?
I don't know, but some of them just have more influence than others.
Okay, so Quake is a game, but it has an entire con around it. It's like having like, I don't know, something con, Metal Gear Con or something.
Oh,
like that.
Mate, you know that I would get so behind that. Right, okay.
Would they just feature Metal Gear games, or would they feature other games?
Right, okay, so Quake is first-person shooters, so it's influential multiplayer first-person shooters.
Right, that's where the term fragging comes from too, right? You frag somebody.
I think so, yeah.
And so at QuakeCon, we had a panel with Todd and a couple other Bethesda bigwigs where they talked about Fallout 76 and some of the new features that are going to be in the game. Like, for instance, you can take selfies, which is always a must.
Yep, very appropriate in the setting of Fallout 76, where, of course, there has been the influence of social media.
You can swap perks. That I found interesting because
that's going to be interesting.
You can change your sort of gameplay style on the fly depending on what you need to do at the moment. The asshole system, basically, is another thing that's going to be in this game where Todd called it like slapping someone at a bar. Like a person can walk up to another person and initiate a fight, but they can't do like a ton of damage. So if I walked up to you in the game, I could like shoot like a fucking Gauss rifle right between your eyes, and it would do like a tick of damage. It wouldn't like really hurt you.
Yeah.
But it would be enough to kind of grab your attention. It'd be like a mosquito bite or something.
Honestly, that's the thing that I find is hilarious is the murderer
Yeah.
mechanic in that he describes it as turning assholes into interesting content, and that is something that I can get behind. I think that will be hilarious.
So I don't get how you become a murderer though. If someone attacks you and you just don't talk to them and just ignore them, does that make you a murderer? If you do that like 10 times, you become a murderer? Or because you can't kill anybody unless the other person accepts your battle, right? Accepts your invite.
No, if it's I think what it is if somebody doesn't accept your invite to PvP, you can still do damage to them, but it will be tiny amounts of damage.
Right, so how much of that tiny amount of damage does it take for you to become a murderer? Because you can't actually kill anyone, I assume, right?
Well, you can if you're
just keep
persistent
nicking
enough,
them?
yeah. Because I think to murder somebody, if you're only doing tiny amounts of damage, you're going to have to be super persistent, which means that you are intending to be a nuisance, which therefore means that you reap the rewards.
So that's
yeah.
griefing taken to another level. Yeah. I'd like to imagine that. Just this one person following another, just keep slapping them on the head is just like harassment. So
Isn't that just rats? Isn't that just rats in Skyrim?
Or it's basically just like real life. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like, people harassing other people. But that's kind of cool that you get that label. If you start griefing people, you get that label, and then people can hunt you down
Yeah.
and get rewards for it. There's an incentivized system to hunt down griefers.
I think that's fantastic, honestly.
I haven't played enough online games to know if that's a new mechanic, but it is cool that
Well,
there is
there
like
have
a
been
self-policing system.
There have been a couple of groups that have sprung up recently in a campaign against against griefers and things like that who are especially targeting you, but they've been quite derided by local communities because literally the only thing that they can do is they can kill you in game, and that's it. So by having an incentivized system that makes you a target by everyone within the gaming community, I think it's just an expansion of that.
There's going to be people who want to be a target, though. They're going to enjoy that. They're going to get off on that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It might encourage some griefing, but it will be interesting. Another thing that they mentioned is the blueprint system, which will allow you kind of to save your settlements so you don't, like, if they ever get nuked or destroyed, you can just place it somewhere else.
Cough, cough, Minecraft.
Which is a kind of a neat way of just preserving your builds. I mean, it would really suck if you built this intricate like replica of Hogwarts and then it got blown up by just some dude who just didn't give a shit and wanted to nuke it. So the blueprint system is nice. So they kind of basically they're taking into account griefing in all its forms. You can make musical instruments. That is cool.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. We can start a band, Chris.
Yeah.
Our final dream.
What's going to be our band name?
Raging Dicks.
Okay. Just go straight for the dicks.
Yeah.
It's pretty much on brand for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last point he made is there will be private servers as well as mods. That's the big news for us, is that there's going to be mods, but they just don't know how there's going to be mods.
Yeah,
because of the online nature of the game. But they are 100% committed to solving this issue, is the quote that I'm reading.
Well, the only game that I know of that is online and has mods is Minecraft. And for that, you need to download the mods onto your specific server. But what it sounds like is that they're wanting to implement modding onto a wider, because it's as well as mods, it's not just private servers, so it's not going to be running just on private servers. Are they going to be trying to run it on public servers as well?
No, because then everybody would have to have it. What happens if you don't have the mods? So
maybe
I would
that's
assume
the problem that they're trying to solve.
Well, if it's a texture thing, like let's say it's just or a replacer, right? So let's say it's high resolution textures. That's something that can be on the server, but not everybody has to have. The gaming experience is still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
If it's like a specific new gun or something, then obviously you're going to need everyone on the server to have the mod. So it probably works best on private servers where everybody has the mod installed, and if you don't have it installed, it just doesn't work, which makes sense to me. But yeah, that's probably the way they're gonna have to do it. I have no idea though, because I mean, everybody has to have it installed on their PC, or is it on the server itself? Or it's
I'm not sure of the technicalities of it, but the people at Bethesda are far more intelligent than I am, so they might come up with a solution, or it might just be a complete shitfest.
Yeah, but it's how many online things have mods, so it would be treading new ground, right? I mean, how many online multiplayers have mods available on their servers?
Yeah.
Like, it's not something that's common, so it's something that 100% committed to solving, and if they don't solve it, it's not even that big of a deal because nobody else does it, so yeah.
It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
It's a stepping stone.
There we go. Baby steps. Anything else you want to talk about?
No. Sorry sorry to everyone listening if I sound a little bit drained at the moment. I am currently juggling a job and a 14,000 word dissertation that is in like 2 weeks.
Just physically juggle that dissertation? It's
yep.
How do you juggle paper?
You
have to ball it up, wouldn't you?
Screw it up into little balls, and you just throw it and you throw it and throw it, and I'm currently throwing around 60 pages at once.
Oh, that's impressive.
What can I say? I'm an impressive kind of gal.
You should quit that education and become a full-time juggler.
Yep. Well, I'm hoping that I can work it into one of my Territor characters soon enough.
Yeah, it's a fallback job, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It just gives me additional skills that I can put on my CV.
Professional juggler. It's going to be a shame when the actual jugglers learn that it was a metaphorical juggling that you were doing. But yeah. That's after you get hired. They don't need to know that.
Yeah, that's after I get hired to the circus.
On the CV, it's going to say juggling. It's not going to say what kind.
Yeah.
Then they're going to see you, like, grab a pen and paper, and they're going to be confused. Like, what are you doing? I'm juggling this task as well as dealing with you people. So
and
that's
as well
as
dealing with my constant anxiety and my hatred for humanity.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I am juggling all 4 of those things.
Yes.
And the audience just sits there and watches you juggle.
And it's just like, it can be like a really dramatic, like, art piece. You know?
It's performance art.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is.
It's just like...
The juggling student.
Exactly. That's how we can make loads of money. There's loads of
performance
avant-garde...
art. Have you ever met a rich performance artist? Loads of money.
Loads of money in it, mate. Loads of money.
Somehow I don't
I'll take
think
it up to
that's
Edinburgh
true.
Fringe.
You can travel the world.
Yeah.
Edinburgh, Greenwich Village, all those artist places.
Is Greenwich a big art place?
I don't know. I always hear that term, Greenwich Village, and I don't know if it is.
Well, you have
it's probably...
Greenwich Mean Time, which is GMT.
That's not the same thing. We're talking about New York, a place in New York where artisans used to live. I don't know if they live there now because who knows? Now it might be completely gentrified. So,
probably is.
Yeah, so it's
and the
probably
hipsters are all very upset about it, and that's why they all moved to San Francisco.
Yes. Because she opened up her Golden Gate.
Damn, son, that's sexy.
San Francisco.
Open up your Golden Gate to me.
All right, on that note, that is it for this episode of Lore Friendly. Tune in next week.
Goodbye.
Hello. Hey, my video isn't on, is it?
No.
I had to buy a webcam recently, and I don't know if it automatically turns on.
No.
See me
Was
naked.
I about to get a sneak peek of what you actually look like?
No.
Oh, damn it.
I think the video is off.
Yeah, no, it's not on.
Okay, good. Yeah, you would have had to get your eyes checked after that, after going blind.
Oh, babe, from your beauty.
I'm seeing, yeah, from my whiteness, I guess. I don't get in the sun that much, and it's reflective.
Mate, I wear white face paint every day at work at the minute, so don't worry, I think my eyes can handle it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You live in a place with no sun.
Yes, I
It's
do.
true.
Especially now that summer is over. Thank God.
Is it? It's not over here. It's like 90 something degrees. So
Well, I got absolutely soaked on the way into work yesterday, so I'd say it's pretty over.
I think I need to move somewhere like that in the summer because it's just too hot down
England.
here.
Come to England. We don't have air conditioning.
See, that's even worse. Like air conditioning is the problem is there's no air conditioning outside, and so it's like
Yeah.
it's sweltering heat. But inside it's fine. But yeah, I would prefer to live in a place where in the summer where it's not just absolutely scorching, but it's not unpleasant either. Like I don't know if there's a place like that. I'm
No,
thinking move back to the Bay Area.
I think you're living in a dream world, mate.
I'm telling you, because I remember I haven't been back there in so long, but I was born and lived most of my life, early life, in the Bay Area,
Alright.
and I think it's much colder there than it is down here in Southern California. Southern California is more like a desert, but
Southern California is death.
yeah, there's a quote. I think it's attributed to Mark Twain, but I don't know if he's the one who said it. You know how those things go in history, but he said the coldest winter I've ever spent was a summer in San Francisco.
I love it.
So it might be cold in San Francisco. I can't recall, but I think it was colder there, but sunny. So that's kind of what I'm going for. Cold but sunny.
Yeah, but isn't San Francisco all hipsters now?
Pretty much. I thought you were gonna sing that song. San Francisco, open your golden gate.
No.
Usually
I've
that's what
never
you do.
heard
You
that.
come in with a song.
I've never heard that.
Have you heard the Tony Bennett San Francisco? I left my heart in San Francisco. Surely you've heard that.
Maybe sing it for me.
Off key.
Yeah.
No. That one's more of like you have to be into it to sing it. You can't sing it all funny like the other one.
What? So
'Cause
you
it's
have
all
to
like-
you have to actually want to sing it.
Yeah, you have to have that sort of emotion, like be sort of melancholy and like sing it with like you're
Once more
trying
with
to sing
feeling.
it. Yes, like you're trying to sing. You know how there's like singing like you're trying to sing and singing like you're just joking you're singing?
Yeah. That's what I do all the time.
You try or you joke?
I joke. It just so happens that my jokey singing voice is absolutely beautiful.
And I can't tell. That's how good it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
1 second,
It goes
sorry.
something like, I left my heart, and then it goes, in San Francisco. Something like that.
Yeah, no, I don't
Something,
recognize
something. Yeah. Probably because I sung it so fucking amazing that it just took it to another level.
that. New plane of existence.
Yeah. It's like a new song. All the old versions are ruined because of what I just did.
It's the
Tony
Chris
Bennett.
T remix.
Yeah. Tony Bennett is gonna come knocking on my door angry because I've taken away his livelihood singing I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
Is that his only song?
It's not his only song, but it's like the one song he's known for. Like, you know how crooners are? They all share the same songs. Like, they all sing the same shit.
It's like, oh, no, I lost my love.
Yeah, like Frank Sinatra can sing Fly Me to the Moon, but so can Tony Bennett, so can
Yeah.
Dean Martin, so can, I
suppose.
mean, New York, all those crooner songs, like, they all share them. It's like, it's pretty incestuous. And they all sound the same, too.
Oh, dear.
Anyways.
Sorry.